Oh man. God. Oh shit, yo. My bad, guys. I was just looking at the comments under my last Dormant Splinter video, because I'm not gonna lie, like, after seeing what Dormant Splinter ended up becoming, that comment section is very funny. I could probably make an entire video just laughing at the idiots who called me wrong, but you know, like I said in my last Yap video, I want these videos to be productive, and as much as, you know, making fun of stupid people online is, I fear it is unproductive. Instead, what I do want to talk about is this weapon, all of the issues with it design wise, the leading on of the player base for the past 2 weeks, power creep, rarity, and you know, hopefully start a dialogue in the community regarding these issues. But you know, before I do that, as you know, 0% of my subscribers subscribe. It's, you know, kind of cringe to not subscribe, so you should subscribe right now. But you know, without further ado, let's get into the content. A few days ago, I released a video called "The Dormant Splinter is Unhealthy" to try to talk about the issues with releasing an item this rare, especially if an item this rare ended up being a weapon. I will admit right here and now, when I initially wrote the script for that video, I didn't actually know what Dormant Splinter would turn into, because nobody did. At the end of the day, it was all speculation until yesterday, when we did find out what it turned into. And all I could really say regarding that video, knowing what we know now, is that I really have never felt this vindicated in my entire life, because no, the Dormant Splinter in fact was not a key to some cool lore item. It was not a neat little piece of content. It was, and is, the strongest weapon ever introduced into the game, bar none. And I personally don't really think many weapons come close either. I'm not gonna lie, I personally was of the opinion that the Dormant Splinter would end up becoming a weapon, and I kind of feel like anyone with a brain also just kind of realized that that was an inevitability. What mattered to those of us who knew this was going to be a weapon is what that weapon ended up becoming. In my head, I thought a Relic Rarity weapon would be something cool, something that levels up combat and shakes up the game in a positive way. A good example could be when mobile game Naruto Blazing released 7 stars, a new rarity. They existed alongside 6 stars, doing new interesting things, but not necessarily eclipsing them entirely, because obviously they are less accessible than the 6 stars. I fear that Deepwoken is kind of falling into the bad example of releasing a new rarity, because the Unbright Witherblade is just better than the other weapons in the game. Right here, I'm gonna just, you know, put an image up on the screen of the initial stats of the weapon just so you can, you know, absorb that information. Are you done yet? Alright, cool, because, you know, I'm not. On top of just the, you know, top 3 in the game stat spread the weapon just gets to have, my GOAT, my king the tunes, also thought it would be cool to give this weapon 70% Wither M1s, anti-heal, hyper armor, a high posture crit, and also just an auto grip, because, you know, why the fuck not? I just checked out of the grippy sock room, so maybe I'm the crazy one here, but this doesn't sound like new takes on what a weapon can be, or an evolution of combat in Deepwoken. This is just all the overpowered bullshit from the last year, put onto one insane stat stick. An insane stat stick that can only be obtained from endlessly farming away at Void Sea bosses or events with fucking Genshin impact rates. My bio on my channel has always been unemployed non-game dev, because as far as I'm concerned, I know literally nothing about the inner workings of this game, but I think I do know enough about gaming and gamers in general to know that in a game that is heavily meta reliant, releasing the most meta weapon arguably ever under these conditions is gonna lead to people being quite angry. At least I know for me, I would be pretty angry fighting the medium weapon that just disables your health bar and does 40 M1 damage. Talk less of the fact that it just looks like, you know, they lied to us about how the weapon was obtained for the last week and a half. If you guys somehow missed the fucking live streamed odyssey that was finding and awakening this weapon, you wouldn't know that it was going on since last week's Friday patch, when the weapon was added to the game. A lot of people found the weapon pretty quickly, and you know, a lot more people did not. But regardless of that, you know, the majority of the search for the Dormant Splinter awakening was the awakening part. Little did the niggas know who were trying to awaken it, the awakening method wasn't even in the fucking game yet. I personally wasn't really farming the weapon myself, because, you know, I'm a big believer in self-love, but I feel like I can only begin to imagine the pain of a no-go or a mic pike after realizing that the Cold Forge that I was searching for and trying to craft my weapon in just wasn't in the game. Me personally, bro, I would have just packed it up after that. The funniest part to me though is that like through the late release of the Cold Forge and also the new cake recipe, we basically just got 100% confirmation that Natoons was just chatting a whole lot of yip yap throughout the entire week, bro. Like, bro. Like, bro, this nigga, straight face, dead ass, nigga said, oh yeah, bro, one guy got really close to the method. The method wasn't in the game, nigga. Like, I'm sure that nigga was close, man, most definitely. Bro, the only actual hint we ended up getting from this nigga Natoons was through baking a fucking Dormant Splinter cake. And the hint that he gave us wasn't even in the fucking cake. Like, bro, I'm simply speaking as a bystander when I say that this shit was actually hilarious for me. But, you know, for the niggas actually in the mix, actively farming and trying to awaken this weapon, I can imagine that being kind of just overtly lied to and fed half-truths in order to send you on a wild goose chase to buy time while the Cold Forge is just kind of sitting in a dev place somewhere was probably pretty frustrating. I was gonna round off this video by talking about rare items in game, but I kind of realized that was just my last yap video, so I implore you to watch that after you're done with this one. What I will say though is that the entire saga that was the Dormant Splinter kind of did nothing but prove my point on why weapons in this game just shouldn't be rare. Completely ignoring the fact that the completed version of this weapon didn't initially exist, having a weapon like this that can only be obtained like this leads to this. No matter what Dormant Splinter ended up being, some people were going to be disappointed. Whether that disappointment stems from having or not having the weapon makes no real difference to me. Another thing that we're seeing now that the weapon exists and has received nerfs is that the people who actively sunk their time into getting it aren't happy, and you know, understandably fucking so. Because, you know, as much as I disagree with them and want to publicly shame them for farming this shit because what's wrong with you, they're right. You see, another issue with releasing shit this rare is entitlement. The whole my thing is, should be, and must be better than your thing because it's rarer and therefore better. But you know, if you miss my content throughout all of this summer, it's just type soul shit, bro. You niggas are doing type soul shit. I most definitely don't agree with the entitlement, but I definitely understand where the sentiment comes from. Sunk cost fallacy refers to the cognitive bias one develops after sinking one's time or money into a particular thing. And I fear whether or not the thing you're sinking hours of your time or money into is a gacha game, a beater card that won't start, or even fucking Deepwoken, having the thing you spent hundreds of hours trying to obtain be stripped away from you, or even made marginally worse, feels like shit. To the Deepwoken devs, man, y'all just gotta never do this shit again, bro. But you know, if you do, make sure to slide me one, cause you know, it's pretty dead in these content streets. You know, it's kind of funny how I planned this video to be productive, but I kind of just complained and laughed the whole time, which kind of sucks. But you know, New Year's coming up, new year, new me. We can be productive next year. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll talk to y'all later.